I want to talk about another method of making a surgeon style face mask. This is this is for the adults. There is your 8 3/4 inches by 7 inches square that you can stitch this either way. But let's just say that you stitch around you have right sides together, stitch like the surgeon's mask and the no raw edges mask. So you stitch, leaving an opening at the bottom, turn it right side out. And if you want to use your own bias binding tape, which is what I have here, you can combine different, you can come up with your own favorite mask is what I'm saying. So I happen to like one wide pleat in the front because it makes it easier to fold in half and put in my pocket, and it's kind of like my design thing. This particular one has a raw edge, and I wasn't sure how I was going to finish it. But if you take the matching fabric ties, and I'm sure you can find a video on how to make bias binding tape or quilt binding with, they have little tools that look like triangles, and you cut an exact 2-inch strip and you pull it through the tool while you're ironing, and it folds the fabric over for you so that you end up with this. They make them in 2-inch wide, so you end up with 1-inch wide tape, or 1 inch, and you end up with, I think, so this is like a 1/2 inch, but when you open it up, it's an inch. And I think the 1 inch makes 1/4 inch, that when you open it up, it's a half. But you can find those, and I've seen very good videos on YouTube on how to make that. So if you're going to make that, what you can then do is still make two 36-inch strips and attach it on the sides instead of across the top or the bottom. Now, I say that because you're really sewing in a loop. When you have this tape, and this one end is a little unfolded and I have to fix it, but you're going to start sewing here because you want to close this tape. So you start here, you sew the whole strip length of the tape to here, you go right over your pleats, and with this type of stitching you wouldn't have a raw edge, but you go right over your pleats and then stitch to the other end of the, and this is adding them to the sides instead of across. Doing it this way, just so you know, you can, if you cut everything exactly out of a yard of fabric, you can get 9, I think I came up with 9 masks, and this is 2, so for every 9 masks you would need 2 yards of fabric. You actually end up with 11, if you cut 2 inches wide out of a yard, you end up with 11 sets of strips that are 36 inches long. But because it's 8 3/4 inches wide, and you're going to cut them lengthwise, you line them up on the yard lengthwise next to each other this way instead of the wide way, you can get 3 times 3 rows, which is 9. So for every 2 yards of fabric, you can get 9 masks and 11 sets of strips, 44-inch wide fabric. And if you can find fabric, it's expensive now, but if you can find it for like $8.99 a yard, and you buy 2 yards to make 9 masks, you'll end up with 2 sets of strips for the next set of masks that are extra, but you'll get 9 complete masks, which comes out to about $1.63 a mask. So aside from we're going to run out of supplies, That's $8.99 a yard for fancy fabric. I've been able to get muslin at when it's on sale about $1.79 a yard, and so 2 yards would be $4, and you get 9 masks for $4. So we need to start thinking this way. Cutting up old clothes. A lot of people cut up old t-shirts. This is t-shirt fabric. You wouldn't need to close that if you use that for ties. You would only need to add it, put it on the edge. So you have your basic adult mask size is 8 3/4 by 7 inches. You either hand or machine stitch it all the way around except leaving an opening at the bottom. Then you decide how you want either one pleat, just simply folded like the surgeon style mask, or pressed and put out like this, which is easier to fold. And when you're deciding your ties, a lot of people have said to me, I don't know how to make a mask, which is part of why I came up with the surgeon style mask. The other thing is, a friend of mine who brings masks around to elderly people that are stuck at home, one man she went to see, he wanted everything she had. Now, I think people are feeling not safe. I know that if my father were alive, he'd want a mask for every day. So 2 yards of fabric, any kind of fabric, is going to be able to give you 9 masks that you can give to a person so they have a clean mask for every day. My father only did laundry once a week. And, I mean, he would wash out a mask. Obviously, we're all washing them out. But since these are machine washable, then when you think of nursing homes, I think they only do laundry like every 3 days. So a basic that you're going to need to make 9 masks is 2 yards of fabric.